Holland and Germany. So, go ahead and start the slides. Here's my little brother and his daughter, and they put all of this together for me, and they translate most of the two little booklets I have there in English. Thank you, Dirk. And this is me, and this is after the war was over, and I had never even been in school yet, and I was about 8 years old there, or 10, probably 10, and never been in school. So, well, that didn't take me long to catch up. Next. And there's our ship. This is how we lived. It is a big, oh no. This is a ship that my dad was the captain on, and you can see the wheelhouse way in the back. And my mother lived underneath the deck there, and I am standing way in front of that ship, holding the hand of my grandfather. And then you can see the tugboat next to us, because we did not have an engine on that ship. And the tugboat would bring us back to Amsterdam to bring the load of sand and gravel that was scraped off the high rivers in Germany. And we went back and forth to get the gravel to build roads in Holland again, because Holland was very much destroyed after the war. And this is just one of those problems that we have. The bridges were bombed everywhere. That's still a little left over of the church. And this is us, all 5 kids. I'm on the left, I'm the oldest daughter, and this is in Rotterdam. And as you can see, we have no shoes. We just never had anything much because the war took it all. And Rotterdam was just completely bombed out just a few days after this picture was taken. Happy days. And this was in an area in Germany, and my brother and me, and when it was Sunday, my dad will not sail on the ship. We all took a day of worship and rest. As long as I remember, we celebrated Sunday. And that's me. That's our ship that was laying there, and you can see that it is loaded and how deep it lays in the water. Very deep. It is just loaded with wet gravel and wet sand, and it's very heavy. Happy days on the deck. You can see the high chair there, and you see my mom holding my little sister. And these were happy days. I don't know how my parents did it with the water that high, because you can tell the ship was really loaded. But we were just happy, and that was just our way of life. This, a homemade dress my mom made that, and I was the oldest daughter, and I had listened to my parents not to go too close to the water, but the rope is on the ground well, actually it's the load of the ship. We're on the ship here on the canal, you can see the water. But my little sister was always tied up to the rope, otherwise she might just wander too far and go to the canal. Yeah. And there's my little sister, and she came to America after when she married my husband's brother, and that was wonderful. We had a good time here. She used to live in California, but she passed away a few years ago. And of course, I was always the leader. And all 5 was happy days, homemade dresses. And then comes 1940, when the war started. Of course, the Germans right away wanted my dad's ship because it was so big and heavy, and my dad was a very good skipper. So we were already separated very early on. And we didn't really sail long for the Germans, because we were bombed out real quickly. And this is in Rotterdam, the same town as you just saw the picture of all of us. And it is just completely flattened, all gone. Now the family attended this church for Christmas. She remembered all of the kids that were so white, and each child were given an apple. Food was scarce, and the apple was so good. 3 days later, the church was bombed, and you see the results. It's the same church that we had Christmas Eve. And of course, you know, if you have been in Europe, traveling on the rivers, this is what happens. It's like a staircase. We have to go through all these walks. And there is, that's me and my little sister, and my mom just hang up the diapers and the clothes for after the laundry, and off we go to Amsterdam to drop off all the load. And this is a gravel road that came from the rivers of Germany, and we are taking this back to Holland, and that bridge was bombed out right after they took this picture. There it is. And we had to scramble to get by it. You see, my mom's one of the Dutch person on the program. And, but everything was bombed out. The Germans really took care of it. So this is the place where we left our ship. And we were refugees. And we were sitting on the shore and all crying, and our livelihood was gone. And this is Nijmegen. Nijmegen was one of the cities where the war was very severe. And as you can see, there's not much left of all the housing, all gone. Okay, that was checkpoints everywhere, and most of the young men, like my dad, would be picked up because they are excellent to be working for the Reich, for the Germans. But my dad was the captain of the ship, and they did not want to use him for that. He wanted to be on the ships, and because very few people knew how to handle those ships on those rivers. And there's George! Hi, George! There he comes. Thank you for George, boy. You don't know what it was like when the Americans came into the liberators. Oh, wow. And there they come. Thank you, all the soldiers, the paratroopers, every one of them. They didn't hesitate to come through all these dangerous places and help the poor Dutch people. Oh yeah, I remember it well. And we, as little kids, just ran after these soldiers, and usually they would throw us a piece of gum, and we never knew what to do with that. And my brother says, "Now you take it," and he cut the little piece in 5 pieces for all this one little piece. You can't swallow it. Remember that. And that was my first impression of the Americans. They were so friendly and so nice to us. And these are some of the French soldiers in Arnhem. That's how it was. We were just like all over these boys, and they were so nice, all these Americans. We just loved the Americans. I still love the American soldiers. And the food tasted so good, and they were all so friendly. Oh, another one like that. That was just so sad. But as you know, Holland rebuilt these beautiful churches and brought most of them back to the way they were before. Bridge too far. Actually, I would have liked to see that movie, because we were right there. But I just in Arnhem, that was the big battle. I remember that too. The Americans came and they threw food parcels out of the plane to us. I remember that well. refugees seeking safety. Yeah, we were all refugees. We were on that cart and horse and buggy too for a while to go from one town to the other because we wanted to follow our family where our aunts and uncles and grandparents were because we had nothing. So there we go. Yeah. No food was there. And that is where I was when liberation came. That's the eastern part of Holland. British and Canadians, allies secured the town, and that was going to happen. We were there. It was unbelievable. Welcome to freedom. Oh boy. Now Holland was upside down when the Americans came and everybody was happy and these soldiers were so friendly with these girls and it was amazing. And lots of refugees. Lots and lots. Refugees returning to the home that didn't exist. Nell's mother stood in line for 4 days to secure a home for her family. The residence was 2 blocks away from the Anne Frank's house. Yeah, we needed a place to live, and all of his kids were getting older. And even my little brother needed to go to school, and none of us had been in school. So my mom finally heard from the office there that we had a home. And it was on one of those old canals with these skinny little houses. And the family that had lived there was a Jewish family. And they were just taken away. And everything was still there, like food on the table, the plates, the fur coat was in the closet, the piano was in the living room. And we just moved in, just like that, because all these people were gone and taken away. Oh, there's my house. It is just on the right side of the tree. There's a bicycle on the left side of the tree, and on the right side of the tree is the door to my home. And we live in the 2 upper floors on the canal in Amsterdam. And that's where we went to school and all of that. And this is cemetery for the soldiers, which we frequently visited because we were so thankful. Yeah, the military. Boosterbeek. Oh, you have?
Beautiful cemetery.
Oh, wow. We were so grateful for America. A courageous young woman, is that me? A courageous young woman whose parents taught though prayer and faith in God were able to protect her family even when the family members were separated several times. Nell credits her parents' faith for the opportunity to live in the United States. It is our pleasure to honor this woman and her family. Oh, thank you. I don't love that. There is a lot more to the story because I was separated from my family for 2 years, and that we didn't know where we were. And my dad had a bicycle with a little car behind it, and he went to all the corners of our country where our family lived, looking for my brother and me. And he did find us though at one of my aunt's house, and so much. And he was taken away with the German soldiers when we were with him and going home, and we didn't see him, and we were little kids without dad. But everything came out fine, and they let him go because he's a skipper and he has knowledge of the rivers and the ships. So the Germans said, okay, we need you for other things, but in the meantime, the Americans came and liberated us so that we never got that far. Thank you all for listening, and may we never forget, because war is horrible.
Thank you, Nell. That's